Physiologically, there has been a lot of excellent research done. The science of breath, in India they call it pranayama. The science of breath has been studied and documented for several thousand years. There's a doctor in the States called Dr. Dharma Singh Khalsa, and he wrote a wonderful book called Meditation as Medicine. And I think they did some wonderful research on tracking this process using scientific methods. And he found out at the cellular level, through the practice of pranayama, or the science of breath, there was longevity and health of every single cell in the body depended on the oxygen taken into through the breathing. Now, that seems quite obvious, but they actually documented that if you could increase intentionally in bursts the amount of oxygen that is going into those cells, your whole quality of life, your whole ability to be and stay vital was directly impacted. It sounds so obvious, but yet most of us are guilty of depriving ourselves of our own breath. The nervous system, he says, through the process, deep and slow conscious breathing tones the entire central and peripheral nervous system. It's almost like breathing becomes a workout for your nerves, and it actually tones them and keeps them from firing, keeps them firing, and keeps them functioning well. Of course, the circulatory system, the efficiency of the blood depends on breathing, and there's a whole way where the lungs get more oxygen, the heart pumps more blood, and the blood absorbs nutrients. That's basic physiology. Toxins get burnt off, all because you have chosen to breathe. And the diaphragm, of course, is hugely involved in this process. When we get diaphragmatic breathing going on, it's almost called a second heart. And you know what happens when your muscles don't get enough oxygen? They hurt. Anybody running the stairs lately? It's like, what's that feeling? Oh, I'm using the stairs. Okay? Liver function shifts. Digestive function starts to shift through breathing. Things like heartburn and things like that. You can directly start to change how your body functions when you go right into breath. I think breath is kind of like a roto-rooter. Do people know the term roto-rooter? No? Okay, this is a North American thing, you know. I know, sorry. Roto-rooter is you can call these people and they bring this machine in specially, and it has an ability to dig very deeply, very quickly, okay? It literally roots out for you. And so breath, you can almost think of conscious breathing as a form of roto-rooting your system. And see, the fun thing here is it's all available to you right now, each and every one of you. There's nothing that you have to go out and invest in except perhaps a little bit of time. Pain management has responded extremely well to pranayama. Deep relaxation techniques, breath work, consciously holding your breath. When you start to hold your breath and the inhale and holding it, it changes the physiology in your system, and it creates a relaxation response as you exhale. A lot of science behind it. I'm just giving you a very quick surface introduction. But if that's the aspect of this art and the science that interests you, please go and look it up. There is a tremendous amount of material out there done by the medical community that will give you some great insights in how breathing is good for you. Mentally, of course, when we breathe, we're in the present. Now, how many of you can say that at least 50% of the day you live in the present? Anybody here? Oh, okay, right, okay. It's a conscious choice. And the present is the place of power. How many of us live either in the past or the future? And we're volleying between the two all the time, right? Okay, there's the until, yeah, but, until, or used to be, great old, good old, right? And we tend to volley between the two. Well, the quickest way to get present is to breathe consciously, thoughtfully, okay? When we take that moment, and we just choose to breathe, your mind cannot be anywhere but the present. It's almost like a magnet that draws it back into the present moment. So if you want to get somebody's attention, if you're talking to a young person or a child and you want them to pay attention, instead of shaking them, just invite them to breathe for a moment. Hey, you know what? Let's take a few deep breaths together, and then let's talk about it. It'll automatically bring them. You cannot be fully engaged in breathing and be anywhere else. So simple on how to get and stay present. Okay? It clears confusion, and it also accesses you to your inner wisdom, because that's where your inner wisdom lives, in the present. Emotionally, of course, there's a calming and a centering energy. We don't waste energy, because when you are breathing fully and properly, you're not able to be in a reactive mode. What percent of your day do you spend in reaction to life? Yeah. And in this case, a higher percentage is not you know, like it's not like, oh, I do 90%, I must be smart. Okay? No. Okay? So how much energy, how much vitality could you preserve that you could actually have available as credit if you were learning to be thoughtful about your breathing? This wonderful gift that has been given to us, and yet oftentimes, because we just haven't been shown another way, we tend to sometimes squander it. We react, and we indulge in negativity through that process. So to experience peace, to experience harmony, to experience being in a loving, non-reactive state, breath is the bridge to consciousness.